Happy Friday and welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. This update is for the week of April 22nd, 2024, and I'm going to jump right into the new law that was signed by President Biden this week related to TikTok. You can listen to this podcast episode that I released yesterday for the full update, but briefly, a new law has been put into effect here in the US that requires ByteDance, a Chinese company who owns TikTok, to either sell TikTok to an American company or it will be banned from US app stores. ByteDance has 12 months to make this happen. I have a lot of thoughts about this and will continue to cover this topic, but I wanted to share with you a video that the TikTok CEO posted yesterday. Let's watch.
Everyone, it's Show here. As you may have heard, Congress passed a bill that the president signed into law that is designed to ban TikTok in the United States. That will take TikTok away from you and 170 million Americans who find community and connection on all platforms.
So this is misinformation. The CEO at TikTok mentions the ban and really drives that in, but doesn't mention the actual purpose of the law, which is to get American data back into the hands of Americans. This is a legitimate national security concern. TikTok's parent company ByteDance is now going to sue our government using our taxpayer dollars to fight this law. This could drag on the process for years, but again, listen to yesterday's update for my full thoughts on this topic, what this law really means, and why I fully support it due to national security concerns and also concerns for our child's safety. I mentioned safety because there are some things that parents need to know about what our kids are seeing on TikTok. So if you Googled TikTok this week, you definitely would see news related to this new law, but you would also find a lot of articles relating TikTok to suicide content. A group called Primetime released a report. They created numerous TikTok accounts as 13-year-olds, and just minutes into scrolling, they were being inundated with posts promoting and glorifying suicide. Another study by a group called Echo recently analyzed hashtags, which held suicide content readily available for children on TikTok. They found over 1.4 million posts and 8.8 million views on these suicide-related posts. Most of these dangerous suicidal posts on TikTok are being served to children through their algorithm in the For You feed. The kids aren't searching for it. Multiple videos that were found contained advice regarding at-home suicide. This video had text that read 5 ways to end it without feeling any pain. Other TikTok videos gave kids advice for at-home concoctions, literally instructing them on how to put together a lethal dose of salt and water to induce organ failure. Just last year, Bloomberg released this feature titled, "TikTok's algorithm keeps pushing suicide to vulnerable kids." And worst of all, parents across the country are reporting that their children have actually taken their own lives, and upon looking at their child's TikTok feed after they passed, the parents found video after video about suicide. There are also kids as young as 10 reporting seeing live suicides on TikTok and even live murders. It's becoming very clear that TikTok is recommending suicide as a way for our kids and teens to deal with their problems. I don't have many more words for this other than keep your kids off TikTok. Next up, a number of adult men have been arrested in recent days after preying on children through the app Snapchat. There's so many I can barely keep up with these stories. A 28-year-old man in Ohio has pled guilty to using Snapchat to solicit over 1,400 sexualized images and videos of children as young as 10. A 22-year-old man in Louisiana was arrested after child sexual abuse material was found in his Snapchat account. A 24-year-old man in Oklahoma used Snapchat to convince a 13-year-old to meet him at a local McDonald's where he sexually assaulted her. A 56-year-old man in Australia targeted an 11-year-old on Snapchat, asking her for nude images, telling her things like he wants to get her pregnant. The list goes on and on. So why do pedophiles target kids on Snapchat? The disappearing message feature is a hotbed for bad behavior. Predators know that their conversations with minors will not be saved. Evidence is literally destroyed. So they feel safe using Snapchat. And despite all these people getting caught, most are getting away with it. So to parents, if your kids are on Snapchat, they will likely get contacted by an adult stranger, and we need to make sure they understand that this is not safe and that they can never share nude images of themselves. Now an update from the state of Georgia. A new law has been passed in Georgia that will ban minors under 16 from using social media without real age verification and parental consent. This is called Senate Bill 351 and will take effect on July 1st, 2025. Governor Brian Kemp said, quote, "We cannot continue to sit by and do nothing as young Georgians develop addictions and suffer at the hands of online antagonists." So the social media companies have just over a year to figure out how to implement true age verification in the state of Georgia. Because right now, kids just have to enter a birth date and they typically lie to get access to platforms. earlier than they're supposed to. A number of other states, including Louisiana, Texas, and Utah, have passed laws requiring parental consent. Arkansas tried to do this, but a federal judge blocked enforcement of the law. And Florida recently passed a law banning social media for children under 14, regardless of parental consent, and requires parental permission for 14 and 15-year-olds. So this Florida law goes into effect on January 1st, 2025. I hope to keep this rolling and have more states start to require actual age verification so we can get all these younger kids off of these harmful platforms. Now an update on Meta that really concerned me this week. Instagram is profiting off of ads for apps that make people naked. And I'm going to show you. A research group called 404 Media found that Meta contained in its ad library several paid posts promoting nudify apps. These apps use AI to make deepfake nudes out of clothed photos, and this has been a huge issue in schools across the country. Teenagers, even middle schoolers, are getting in huge trouble for using these apps on their classmates. They're literally creating AI-generated child sexual abuse material and sending it around to their friends, which is now a felony in some states. Here are two of the ads that Instagram was showing to users. And the research not only showed that Instagram profited off of ads for nudify apps, but they've also made money off of ads for drugs, for stolen credit cards, for counterfeit money, and for weapons. So what we're finding out is that Instagram is really bad at censoring their ads that are getting served to our kids. So parents, if your kids are on social media, explain to them that they are the product. These platforms save all kind of information, every click and every comment that they make, and then serve them with targeted ads in order to make money. Sometimes these ads can be manipulative or inappropriate. Kids can ignore the ads, but better yet, report the ads that make them uncomfortable or that feel harmful to themselves or to others. As I talk about often, these open conversations with our kids in age-appropriate ways on what they could encounter online is the most important thing. Sprinkled through every podcast episode I put out are tips for parents on how to have these conversations, how to teach your kid how to react when met with a harmful post or a predatory stranger. This preparation is so important, and knowing that they have a true safe space in you to come to when there's an issue, it could literally save their life. Thank you for listening to this week's Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. I will catch you next week.